up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let's talk about it. It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. Let's talk about everybody. It's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. This is The Undoing, Season 1, Episode 3. So unfortunately for me this week, I had to take a COVID test. Yes, I woke up this morning, or I woke up yesterday morning not feeling too good. And so I decided not to take a chance and go ahead and just call off work and get a COVID test. So I couldn't get the COVID test till today. So I still haven't found out my results, and I'm kind of anxious at this point because I missed several days of work and I'm ready to go back, okay? So y'all pray for me. I think I should be good. I didn't have the headache today. Well, I had the headache today, but I didn't have the nausea today. So I think I should be okay. So y'all just keep me in your prayers, okay? Now getting into this episode, honey, it was a lot going on this week. I kind of feel like Grace is not the best narrator for us. She's not the best person to watch the show through because she's trying to process things that have happened and she's having memories, and I don't know who is guilty at this point. I'm suspicious of everybody. So let's not waste no time. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we start off this episode exactly where we left off where Grace calling the police on Jonathan as he's talking to his son, and the police arrive and Jonathan is put into the vehicle. A helicopter arrived and the detectives have arrived to speak to Grace. We see Henry upstairs practicing his violin. I felt kind of bad for Henry. Henry was going through this episode, y'all, but I feel like it's a little bit too late. But he up here practicing his violin, and we see that the detectives are asking her questions and about, what happened in the situation. Did he choke you? Did you call 911 5 minutes after he was here? And she's like, listen, it sounds like you don't believe me, okay? Like, am I giving you a reason to think that you can't believe me? Like, why are y'all acting like this? Detective Mendez sends Detective O'Rourke away so that he can talk to her privately. So he asked her if she thought that her husband would harm or kill this woman, or harm or kill her. Was she really scared? And she's like, listen, she's just like, basically, what's going on? Like, why do you keep asking me all these questions? Why are you treating me this way? And he says, listen, there was an assault and I'm just trying to assess the severity of the assault. So she apologizes to him and he tells her that the DNA results came back. Like, he hit her with that whammy out the corner just to see how she was going to react. Now, the whole 2 episodes, I've been like, the police been acting very accusatory towards her. They haven't really given her the benefit of doubt, like at no turn. So like, I knew that this was coming or whatever. It was kind of evident that what happened. So anyway, he hit her with another whammy and tells her that the DNA test came back, and baby, that
Jonathan is the pappy.
Grace is very upset. Obviously she's very upset by this, and I feel that she walked away because she didn't want to cry in front of him. So she walks out and she goes out into the yard and she kind of just staring out there, and he's staring at her. Back in New York, we see Jonathan get processed into jail, and we see he's kind of coming to terms with his new harsh reality. We hear that he's going to get arraigned, and we see all this on a news program, and we see that Henry is sitting there watching it with Franklin, his grandfather, and it's upsetting. He runs upstairs when Grace comes down and tells him to turn it off. She's asking him to please turn it off over and over again, and he won't do it. So he finally gets pissed off and he just runs away upstairs. Her father asks her if he has an attorney. He says no, he probably has a public defender, that he probably doesn't have much money now, whatever. And he says that she's fine money-wise. If you notice this episode, Grace said about 15 times this episode, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I feel like everything's going to come to a head sooner or later, and she's going to have an emotional, outburst. But she kept telling everybody she was fine. She was fine monetarily, even though he's drained all their bank accounts. Then we see Henry in his room, and he's looking through all of his things, and he finds a picture of his father, and he's kind of just staring at the father. So I feel like maybe there's something that Henry knows that we don't know. There's something that Henry has been struggling with, because he has really been going through it. And don't get me wrong, this got to be a hard experience for him, right? But at the same time, it's like they're emphasizing the fact that Henry is really going through. Does Henry know something that we need to know? She's on the phone with friend. Y'all, I'm going to learn friend name. Cheryl.
Chantel. Charlene. Shirley.
I'm going to learn her name. It starts with a C or an S. I can't remember. Friend calls her. So friend says she doesn't know the attorney is yet. She says that it's going to be a regular arraignment. She's going to talk to her, about it or whatever when it's over with. And she tells her, listen, you need to hire your own attorney. The police are going to try to use the fact that you had this man at your house as leverage. They're going to try to say you was harboring a fugitive or whatever the case may be. She tells her, I'll call you on the other side. And friend, I'm looking at her too. I'm side-eyeing everybody in the whole show because friend is giving me, girl, why are you so invested? Like, sis, you're a lot invested in what's going on, and you're not, I don't know. It's something about her. I don't know what it is. I don't know. See, Grace gets another call from her friend when she gets in the court, and she says that he's got the badger. His name is Robert Edelman. He's a public defender, and they said that he's not good, but he's not bad. And they call him the badger because he just gnaws and gnaws and gnaws and gnaws. I have Catherine Stamp. She's the prosecutor, and she knows her very well. She says she interned with her for a while. She's a heavy hitter, and she's there in person, so that lets them know that they didn't come to play, honey. They came to slay. She also says that Elena's husband is giving her a death glare. And she has to get off the phone because the arraignment is about to begin. We have the Honorable Layla Scott. I think that was her name. She got up there looking like Auntie Maxine Waters, honey. And she let the people know,
y'all ain't gonna be Snapchatting, Instagramming, FaceTiming, Facebooking, or whatever else y'all be doing up in that the little social internet, girl.
Not up in this court. We're gonna have order, and we're gonna follow the procedures and rules of the courthouse. And if you can get the hell up out of here. I mean, she didn't say all that, but that's what she said. Am I clear? Period. So, baby, when they bring Jonathan in the courtroom, honey, the courtroom was set ablaze, bitch. They was like,
oh my God.
it was like cameras was flashing. The people was talking, baby. You'd have thought we was watching How to Get Away with Murder, honey, and Annalise was on trial. He got a first-degree murder charge. He got several other charges that they didn't read. But basically, they asking for, him to be let out on his own recognizance or him to have a bail or whatever. And the lady is like, child, he just tried to run. Like, we're not about to give him no bail. No, we request that he not have bail. And they're like, he doesn't have a parking ticket. He doesn't have anything. She said, girl, he started off running, honey. He with rape and murder. So let's just, let's just keep him in jail. He needs to stay his ass in jail. And the judge was like, okay, we're going to give him a $10 million bond. It need to be $2 million cash. I was like, whew, that's a lot of money, baby. That's a lot of money. And you ain't got no money. But they took him on back to jail. And not only do friends stares at him, she also stares at the daddy, the husband, and she also looks at the prosecutor and do a little, hey girl, wink. I was like, what is this all about? What is this going on with this? I need to know, baby. Grace is at home, and we see her son is watching the news again, watching what happened, and Henry says that Jonathan looks scared. So we see Jonathan's first night in the jail, and he goes to the bathroom. We see a man getting up to go to the bathroom. The man kind of look at him or whatever, and so he's going to sleep. And the next day he wakes up, and they bring him into the yard or past the yard, and child, he jumping scared. Somebody said something.
Beat your ass, dude.
He was scared as hell. Like, Jonathan was shook. So they bring him to go meet his lawyer. So basically his lawyer is giving him the rundown. It's been about a week. You can tell that Jonathan is upset that he's been in jail for about a week and they haven't found no way to get him out of jail yet. He says 2 or 3 times that he's innocent, and his lawyer doesn't seem to be moved by this. His lawyer says that that's nice, but I prefer for my clients to be guilty because it takes the pressure off of him. And he also said, I thought, when I was looking at your files, I saw that, if you're innocent, that would be unfortunate because it would be very difficult for an innocent man to make himself look this guilty. I mean, the choices you made, the things you did, you was just stupid. Like, I don't understand. And so he kind of go back and forth with him, and dude is like, hold up, okay, like, watch who you talking to. I know that doctors get to be buttholes because that's what you do. You saving people's life. You get that privilege to do that to people, right? But you don't get that privilege anymore, okay? So watch your mouth. Watch who you talking to. Talk to me nice. All right. Thank you. He's like, I would be very grateful if you can give an opportunity for me to see my child or see my wife. We see Grace meeting up for lunch with Robert, and he gives her, some sympathies, and he tells her that, he says that, your husband seems convinced that you're going to vouch for his innocence. She's like,
no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to vouch for his innocence. No, I'm planning on that one.
That wasn't in the plans. I don't know what you talking about. And he was like, okay, well, I guess not. Listen, I know you're suffering from PTSD, basically, but it was a different kind. It was like betrayal, post-traumatic betrayal. And he says, when, you get messed over by somebody, the person who did the messing over, now you think they could be capable of anything because you haven't seen them, do this type of thing that they did. So what was it like before you found out this? Did you think he was the type of person who could kill somebody? And she says, well, I wouldn't be married to him if I thought that. And he says, well, I'm convinced that your husband is like a prick or whatever, but he's not a killer. So, what do you think about that? And she was like, well, I don't really know what to think. But then we see Grace talking to her father again. They have these chats various times. And we saw Grace was walking a lot of places. She was walking to go see this person, walking to go see that person. Like, she spent her whole damn episode walking around, okay? So she's talking to her father about everything that's happened. She feel like she owes it to Henry and, to allow for his father to be innocent. And he says, okay, well, why do you feel like you need to go see him? And she says, well, I need some semblance of the truth. And he was like, how you think you're going to get the truth from him? Henry overhears this conversation, and later on in the middle of the night, he comes to her in the bed and he's like,
You think he's guilty, don't you? You think he's guilty.
so she has to lie and say no, which I really do. She kind of think, or she doesn't really know if he's guilty or not. She's unsure, but she tells him no, she don't think he's guilty, and she comforts him. The next morning, we see the press is outside of her door, baby. They are ready for action as she gets in the car and she heads out to go see Jonathan. So they get there, you know, they get to the jail. He comes in and he sits down and, you know, she looking all sad. She was like, I don't know why you wanted me to be here, but I'm here. So, you know, say whatever it is you got to say. He says, I'm not here to convince you that I'm a good husband. She's like, or a good father, because you did what you did it to me, and you did it to your son too. And he kind of like just dismissed the fact that you have a whole damn baby. Okay, sir, you got a whole baby out here. He was like, well, you know, I mean, I spoke about how Elena was unhinged. You know, she was losing it. She got obsessed with you. She got obsessed with me. I felt like she wanted to destroy our relationship or destroy us or whatever the case may be. And he was like, listen, I understand you may or not trust me to be the man that you thought I was, but I would never kill nobody. You know I would never kill nobody. And he says that, you know, that my heart wouldn't allow it. My ego wouldn't allow it. And his love for her and his love for Henry. And then he's like, can you bring Henry to me? He needs to hear me say that I'm not guilty. He needs to hear that. And so she can see that she's struggling with that, you know, that pull. That heart is tugging, honey. The gaslighting, okay? My thing is, you destroyed your family, sir. So, Elena, you destroyed your family by sleeping with somebody who was your whatever. You know what I mean? I'm going to get on Elena in a minute. But, sir, you was the one who did that. She didn't want to destroy your family. You did because you kept sleeping with her. You even admitted the night that she was dead, you argued with her, and then you slept with her. So, sir, cut the shit. We see Grace struggles with this later on that night because she's crying and she's picturing Jonathan with Elena's son when he had cancer, kind of helping him out or whatever, and she's crying because she's struggling with this. So the next morning, we see she meets up with the doctor, the one from the hospital that said he didn't want to talk last week. And he tells her that he's not really comfortable about this because he signed a confidentiality agreement and he's risking his job by talking to her. So she says, listen, I'm not expecting you to help him after everything he's done. But she says if he's guilty. And he like, if he guilty? Wait a minute. You don't know all the stuff that he was doing, girl, okay? She asks, well, what do you know about Elena? He says, I know that she have a son. I know that his son was his patient. I know that they were not discreet. You know, I told him, I tried to tell him, his colleagues tried to tell him they was not discreet about it. He didn't care. He just wanted to be with her, and he didn't care about risking it all, and clearly that's what he did. So she says that, you know, he says that she was obsessed with her. She was obsessed with him and their life and everything that's going on. And he tells her, listen, Jonathan thrived on that. He cultivated an environment where people were obsessed with him. People admired him. People loved him. The parents, everybody thought he was a hero, a savior, and all of this. And he thrived on it. He said sometimes it wasn't even about the care that he was giving to the patient. It was about the emotion that he was receiving from the people, from the patients and the people that loved him so much. And he said, they say psychopaths shouldn't work in hospitals.
He's not a psychopath.
I'm like, girl, here you go defending the man who done had a whole damn baby on you, girl. Girl, listen. As she's waiting for her son to come out of the school, we see her like scoot to the side or whatever. She kind of hides as the husband of Elena passes her by with the baby in the baby stroller, okay? I was like, damn, they ain't got no kind of support system because, baby, he holding that baby at all times. He holding the baby, pushing the baby in the damn stroller, throwing the baby there like, damn, feed the baby. I'm like, do you work, sir? That evening, she speaks with Franklin again, and she tells him it's called hero worship. And he's like, it sounds like some BS to me. So basically, you know, a woman or a person will get infatuated with the person who saved them or saved their child's life, saved their life, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of times it's firefighters, police officers, so forth and so on. And so he's like, that don't have nothing to do with that man killing her, okay? She said, well, Jonathan said she took it to extremes. You know, crazy people do crazy things. He says, are you open to the idea that Jonathan is innocent? And she says, well, I'm open to the idea. And he says, well, you are open to the idea of you and Jonathan getting back together? And she was like, no, that's ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't say that. That's ridiculous. He says he came to me for money. basically he came to him and told him that you were worried about paying for the school. And but it's interesting because she told a police officer that her daddy pays for the school. But then he came to her because she was worried. I think that's a plot hole. But anyway, he said that Jonathan said that he wouldn't, or, you know, she wouldn't tell him about their financial problems because she always saying she fine, remember? So he believed that, and he said, I even told him, thank you for giving me the opportunity to help, and don't tell, you know, he told me don't say anything. I didn't say anything. She was like, how much money did you give him? I gave him $500,000, and he drained y'all bank accounts. Why? Where's the money? And what they got to do with this court case, honey? So Franklin is struggling with this because he says maybe if I wouldn't have given him the money, maybe if I would have said something, that woman would be alive today. And then later on that night, we see him walking the streets of New York, and where does he end up but underneath the baby apartment, standing up in there looking at this man holding the baby one more time. I said, wait a minute. Now, how you know where this girl live, okay? How you know what's going on and where is where and who is the where and who and all the place? I'm confused. The next day, we see Henry and Grace. They go see Jonathan, and she tries to get him off the phone because he's like playing a game on the phone, and he says that he reassures her that everything's gonna be okay. You know, he'll be fine. Once again, here we go with the we'll be fine. So they bring him in, and, you know, his father comes in, and he gives him a hug. He talks to Henry, basically small talk about school, and tries to start it off like that. And Henry is like, did you kill her? Like, no, I didn't kill her. He says, he starts to give him this whole convoluted story about how he just got, you know, he got caught up and he allowed himself to be persuaded. And, you know, he was like, well, you was fucking her. He was like, yeah, we was romantically involved. You know, he allowed himself to be persuaded. A person who make the person feel like he desperately needed him because her child was very sick. And he says, I can help him recover. And I think that I let my reason to lose that. I let that be a reason to lose my strength of character. He's wanting to help overwhelmed him. And so then after everything, after being grateful for everything I've done for her and the son, she became threatening to him. She became, you know, mean to the point where it felt like she wanted to destroy the family and destroy our family or whatever. And so, oh, Henry said, we ain't gonna never be a family again. I said, you damn right about that, because you wouldn't be coming back up in my house after you making no outside babies, because Henry gonna feel some type of way when he gotta meet his little sister. So they reach out to grab hands, but there's no touching. So I think the visit is going to be pretty much over. They pick him up and they take him away. And we see that Henry is just very sad about this whole situation. Obviously, he's not okay like he said he was gonna be. So Grace goes back to her father, and she wants to get him a lawyer. So the dad had told her about Haley Fitzgerald earlier on in the season, or in the first couple of episodes, and she says she wants to be able to get this lawyer for him. And he says, wow, you know, you better than me, basically. You can see the humanity in people, you know, and you have an affair that's human. You know, you strike at someone in the heat of passion that's also human. But to beat somebody to death and to continue to beat them after they were dead, that's a monster. That is a monster. That's not human. Grace says he's not that monster. He cannot be that monster. And so he agrees to arrange with her for her to meet with Haley Fitzgerald. So down at the jail's house, Jonathan is just sitting there minding his business for the most part, and he gets harassed by a local crackhead. You know, he over there tweaking. So the dude ain't no harm. He ain't gonna bother nobody. He just aggravating him, saying he found out a lot of stuff about him on Google, and he's asking him to sign some stuff. You know, I can get your autograph or whatever. And Jonathan is like, get the F away from me. He's like, bro, get the F away from me now. And so he pushes him, and then he pushes him down, and they get in a fight. They're fighting for real, and Jonathan bites this man's finger. Y'all, he bit this man's finger like Dexter, bitch. I was like, what am I watching, okay? How you turn from crying a basket case one moment to beating the piss out somebody the next moment, to where you didn't bit their finger off. It's blood all over the ground, and the other inmates are booing him as they take him out. Because like I said, the little white boy, he don't bother nobody. He wasn't even trying to start no fight. He just get on your nerves at the most. You know what I'm saying? And see Elena's husband following Grace as she goes to go see Haley Fitzgerald. So Haley Fitzgerald tells her she's been looking at the files and everything, and she just wants to let her know that, you know, she don't put nothing past the state to, you know, mess up cases. It's not like she feels like they got it in the bag, but at the same time, she can do one thing, which is to create a mess. Now, Annalise Keaton taught us okay? That you don't need to prove the person is innocent. You just need to prove that make sure the case can't meet their burden of proof. So she's here to muck it up. That's what she's here to do, okay? So that's all she can offer you. She can't make the man stop cheating on you. She can't make your marriage be right, and she can't make your family get back together. All she can do is keep him out of jail. So is that what you want, good sis? And she's like, okay, fine, that's what I want. Police come to visit Franklin and basically trying to scare him, you know, get him to say something about his daughter and say that she might be a suspect as well and all of this stuff. And he basically was like, I ain't no snitch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I believe in law and order, following the rules and whatnot and what have you. But if you want my opinion, if you want my words, if you want what I have to say, I'm going to need for you to get a warrant. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
So we then see Grace waiting to pick up her son from school again, and this time the husband walks up on her and he asks, can they talk? And she's like, it's not the right time because she see the baby there. You know, she get all self-conscious because the baby's there, and he's like, well, when is gonna be the right time, girl, because your husband killed my wife. And so they go upstairs and they talk. And he said he's been told that she's been asking questions about Grace, and you know, the fact that her husband killed Grace, or her, he tells her that he's heard that she's been asking questions about Elena, and you know, the fact that her husband could have killed Elena and you around here slandering Elena character, that's not cute for him. Now don't get me wrong, you know, the lady is dead, but baby, she slandered her own character when she was around here laying up with that lady husband having babies. Like, you got the baby in your arms talking about somebody slandering her character. Child, we just trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So she was like, I heard she has some mental problems. He said, that ain't none of your damn business. So that let you know that whole did have some mental problems, okay? It's gonna be her, she says it is her business, gonna be her business, because her husband is on trial for this lady murder. So if she has some issues or whatever secrets you hide from her, holding from her, it's your business, okay? It's my business, and I'm gonna make it my business. And he like, you better watch your back. And she was like, I got you, boo. Then we see her husband, remember, walking up to the apartment and hearing Elena having sex with Jonathan. Now, I don't know if it was the night she was killed, but it was a night. Then Grace goes to the police department to make a complaint or to find out about this man's alibi, if it was verified and all of this. So she goes under the guise of making a complaint saying that the man was threatening her, and that he'd been following her and stalking her. And they're like, okay, what are you talking about? We know that he's not a suspect. She's like, he had motive and opportunity and all that. He was like, we know that he's not a suspect. She was like, well, I know they have cameras around. They got cameras all over this city. You mean to tell me it was no cameras on the block? And just tell me what's going on. Just tell me what the hell is going on. So they finally was like, yeah, girl, they got some cameras. They ain't had none on the building, but they had some across the street. And they did catch this image right here. So they go ahead and pull out the evidence. Okay, so they pull out that beautiful beam footage, bitch. And that hoe was like, she was shook when she seen herself on the camera. And he was like, ma'am, if you got something to tell us, you might as well just tell us right now. I don't know what was going on, baby. She's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand. I'm confused. I don't understand. I was like, girl, yeah, you don't understand what's going on, girl. You done, what done happened? You done killed this lady? I don't think she killed the lady. I think she had something to do with it, though. I think that she might know what happened and she forgot, or she had a psychotic break or some shit. Like, I don't know, but I'm looking at everybody crazy because I like Franklin. I really like his character, but I feel like he would do anything for his daughter, anything. Okay, and the way he knew where the people live, that kind of threw me off. And then hearing me crying and shit like every 5 minutes. Don't get me wrong. I know you're a preteen. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's upsetting what's happening, but he taking it like extra hard, like extra hard, like he knows something. And when they sat down at that jail, the first thing his daddy said to him was, look at this trouble I've gotten you into again. Why would you say this trouble I've gotten you into again? Unless your son seen your ass leaving up out the house or doing some shit you ain't had no business. And that's perplexed my spirit, okay? And I need to know what's going on, honey. At this point, everybody did it, bitch. I don't know who did it. I ain't got no guesses. I don't know, okay? I don't know what's going on, baby. So I want to hear your thoughts about this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll holler at y'all next week.